Okay, let's talk about backflows. Let's just talk about the basics, how to remove and reinstall the centerpiece, how to make minor adjustments, and we'll go from there. Okay, so basically for simple adjustments, you just need a Phillips head screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. Let's start with these two handles. These are just ball valves. If you have it sideways, that means it's off. Water is not going through this side. If you have it open, parallel with the pipe, that means water is flowing through. The whole point of this is water comes through this, and it should not allow water to go backwards. That way you don't get your drinking water into the house contaminated with anything from the yard. Okay, let's talk about how to remove this piece. You're going to want to remove it in the fall, but we can also reinstall it so you know how to reinstall it during the spring. So first things first, turn the water off. If this were winter, I would not just turn the water off right here. This whole thing will freeze. Make sure to shut the water off either at your stop and waste valve or in the basement. Now, one other quick tip going into winter, don't leave these handles completely sideways. What happens is water gets trapped in that ball valve and you get a freeze break right here and you will have to replace these valves. So I like to just leave them at 45-degree angles. So make sure the water's off. I also like to relieve a little bit of pressure. So I'm going to take my flathead screwdriver, slightly rotate that. That's totally normal. Water's going to drain out of there. Now, your two screws up top. This is how you're going to remove it and reinstall. You're going to just take these screws off. When you're retightening these, do not over tighten, just hand tight. Unscrew these. You have a wedge right in here. Pop the wedge up. Okay, so you're going to pop this wedge out. I also think it's a good idea to keep this handle closed as well because you might have back pressure from the rest of the system. Once the wedge is pulled out, you are simply going to just push it in, pop this out. Okay, be careful. Sometimes this O-ring, there's two O-rings right here on this edge and on this edge here. Sometimes these fall out, and this is very important so it seals properly. I like to take these little flathead screws. I like to turn them so if they're sideways like this, that means it's closed. I like to rotate them so they're open. This will allow any extra water in here to drain out, as you can see. Store this somewhere in your basement, in your garage, somewhere that it's not going to be moved around much, and definitely somewhere it's not going to freeze. Now let's talk about reinstalling this thing so your sprinkler system is ready to go for spring. Okay, make sure this black piece is pressed up tight. Keep an eye on these O-rings. Make sure these O-rings are both still there. You're going to slide this piece straight down. Grab your wedge. Put that wedge right back down in here. When you push this wedge, it's going to push the black piece over, tightening this up. So push down, and then you're just going to grab your two screws and tighten this down. Remember, hand tight. Okay, after this is back installed, go ahead and open your valves. Open them slowly. If your water is on, you don't want to open it too fast because this could cause other problems in the system. Take a second or 2 seconds to turn it nice and slowly. You may have water coming out of the bottom. If you do, there's likely something trapped inside of the vessel or it's not sealing properly. That might be a time to call a sprinkler repair company. If you have water that's coming out of one of these valves here, it's very easy. Just take your flathead screwdriver. You just rotate it. It is just a ball valve. Just make sure it's shut. If you don't have anything leaking, you should be good to go. Hopefully this helped. Check out our other videos for more tips.